In this tutorial, I will show you how to make an object show up on the page a little bit later than the text does. And then we'll be getting into the exciting stuff on the next page within my Yoga Adventure at the Ocean book and get to animating some characters. So first here, let's preview this page. You see we have the beach scene, and then the writing shows up, sort of showing up as they read it. There's still no pizza there though. And now the pizza pops up at the end when we get to talking about pizza in the story. We'll close out of here and show you how I did that. So I wanted that to happen because I didn't want them to just wonder what a random piece of pizza was doing there. This part of the story is encouraging them to open up their legs wide and take a great big straddle stretch. So just making the story a little more interesting with something popping up as they go along. Clicking up here on our event graph. This first part here, this is what we've seen before. This is how I got the text to come fading in. From our function block over here, we chose to play text effect. I chose to fade. The speed is medium. I didn't want this to be too fast or too slow, rather trying to go along with the pace of reading. I wanted it to start right away when they turned the page, when the page started. And I chose the text box from our objects because that's what I wanted to fade in. Now here's a part where we got the pizza to stay off the page until we were ready for it to arrive. Over here in functions, I chose fade. So once I clicked on that, it appeared here. Under effect, we can fade something in or we can fade something out. So by the same essence, you could take an object that's there in the beginning and then have it fade away as the writing goes along. I wanted this to happen not right away when the page started. I wanted it to be delayed. So you'll see over here in events, you've got options for things to start when the page starts, when someone clicks something, if they drag something, or if they type something in. So none of those conditions applied to this page. So I left it with on page start, but delayed it by 15 seconds. Over here in the object tab, I chose the pizza. And then remember, we have to connect all of the boxes together. So when did I want the fade to start? About 15 seconds. So here I'll show you the difference. If I were to just put 3 seconds here and then preview, pizza will come in much earlier. And then we have the pizza already. So that's kind of what I did, was just some experimenting to see how many seconds it took for it to pop up exactly where I wanted it to be. So I connected the fade to the page start and I connected the object over to the pizza, and that is how we made that happen. On to our next page here, we've got this little cute guy who's going to make his way walking back to his car, where we're encouraging the kids to stop and shake their bodies, pretending to get the sand off of their car before they get back in to drive home. Let me preview and show you what I was able to do. So you'll see a little guy walking and he's moving towards his car, and then he's stopping there shaking the sand off of his body. The text was here all along, so we've got this animation, which is so much fun, but there is a lot to it. Let me show you the graph side of that. You'll see a lot of lines, a lot of connections. So since this is something completely new, I'll show you on a blank page, and I'm just going to show you with the character. So we go back to layout design, we'll keep the page blank. Now, there are only certain images that you can animate. If you come over here to our black bar on the side, we click on animations. These are the characters you can choose from to animate. Here is our friendly little guy. So when I click on him, he shows up rather large. So let's resize him to a little more towards the level we wanted him to be. So within my picture, I didn't want him facing this way. I didn't want him walking away. I wanted him walking towards a car. Took me a little while to figure out how to do this. But if you click here, you see you can widen him out. But if you drag to the left instead, it flips him around so that now when we animate him, he'll be walking in the direction that we want him to go. Let's go over to our event graph and show you the different things that we'll do here. Over in functions, we want to find the function animate. Within animate, click here where it says none. Mine does not want to show up right now, so perhaps it's wanting me to add a few items in there beforehand. Now, when did I want to animate him? I wanted to animate him right when the page started. I wanted him to start walking. And what was I animating? I was animating over here in objects, this cute little guy. So when does it start? Connect it to when the page starts. What is the animation object? Connect it to the purple circle over here. Let's see, it will let us change, we're animating. Yes, so we can choose for him to idle, jump down, jump up, run, or walk. So in my case, I had him walking. Let's preview and take a look at him doing that. He is walking, but he's not going anywhere. He's just walking in place. So now that's the next step we need to add is to ask him to move. Let's close out here. Now back into our functions, we'll find the function that says move. Scrolling right along, this one right here. I want him to move along the x-axis. I have him moving 125. I just did some playing around with that. And we'll give him about 5 seconds to go there. When do I want this to happen? I want this to happen as well when the page starts. So I don't necessarily need to put in a new event right there. I can simply say that I want him to move from the start. When the page starts, I can connect it to the same square. What is going to move? My same little guy. So I can just connect that up to both of those spots. Let's preview this now and see what happens. Now he's walking and he's moving along. So it took him about 5 seconds to go that far. We could give him a lot more pixels to go across on the x-axis and he would go further. Now at the end of the 5 seconds, if we don't do anything else, he's just going to shut himself off and stand still there. But I wanted him to still be alive, if you say. So I wanted him moving a little bit and then something that could mimic that action of shaking the sand off his body like the kids are encouraged to do within the story. So back within our functions, we want to animate again. But I want to animate not to walk, but to idle. And I don't want it to happen right when the page starts. I want it to happen after he's done his walking and moving. So I need a different event for this one. I need the page start again, but I'm going to delay that. Let's try and delay that by 5 seconds because we've asked him to walk and move for 5 seconds. Then after those 5 seconds, we will have him over here. We will ask him to idle. So let's connect these first. When do I want him to animate? Here, delayed 5 seconds. What do I want to animate? All of this is all going back to our same guy here. Now we can come back to the type of animation, and this is just going to be idle. Now I'm actually going to try and change this to 6 seconds because that way it will start after he's done walking. Let's preview and see what we've done with our fella here. He's walking, he's moving along, and when he's done, He's going to stop and idle. So there we have it, folks. Let's close out here. I'll bring you back to my page, which had everything all put together. We had chosen a background here. The car was an image I added into my background. The text, I added some title headings, some bold here. You can see this was body added. Change the font, change the size, place it where you want it to be. We have our little guy here. Let's preview, watch it all one last time before we sign off here. So now you see we arranged it, try and get him to walk and slide as close to the car as he could. We could always play around with some more pixels there. I did originally have him going further, and then he kind of walked right through the car. So you see how you just play around as you go. So have fun creating and animating your own characters. See you next time where we'll be finishing the book.